Friday afternoon at exactly 3:17 p.m., I turned into my driveway after a quick trip to pick up milk, expecting nothing more dramatic than unpacking groceries and reminding my twins to finish their homework. Instead, the sight that greeted me made my pulse explode in my ears. A heavy-duty chain, thick, industrial, and completely out of place on a suburban front porch, was wrapped around my front door like a steel python. A massive padlock hung at the center, glinting in the sun, and dangling from it, swinging gently like a taunt, was an orange tag, stamped with bold black letters. HOA violation. Immediate compliance required. My first thought wasn't confusion or anger, it was pure, paralyzing terror. Because my children, my 8-year-old twins, were inside, alone, for the first time in their lives and only for 20 minutes. While I dashed to the store, my heart plunged into my stomach as I sprinted to the door, the grocery bag slipping from my hands and crashing onto the concrete. I grabbed the chain, pulling hard enough that the metal cut into my palms. "Mommy!" my daughter screamed from the other side of the door, her voice rippling with panic. My son was crying, the sound high and hysterical, the kind that slices through a mother's bones. The deadbolt was thrown. The chain was looped around the handles 3 times. The padlock looked like something used to secure warehouse gates. I screamed the one name that made sense: Karen. The name every resident of Willow Creek spoke in low tones, as if saying it too loud might summon her. Karen Whitmore, queen of the HOA, tyrant of our neat little subdivision, ruler of pastel cardigans and weaponized courtesy. To understand how everything reached this point, I have to go back 2 days. I moved into Willow Creek 6 months earlier, after my divorce, desperate for stability for my kids. I didn't know then that stability would be the last thing anyone found here under Karen's rule. She was the HOA president, treasurer, and secretary all in one, something no one questioned because everyone was too scared to confront her. She fined me the first week I lived there because my trash cans were out past 9 a.m. by exactly 12 minutes. She threatened to tow my car last month because one of the tires crossed the faded driveway line by 2 inches. 2 days before the chain incident, she'd left a neon pink notice taped to my door. Holiday decorations exceed maximum allowable wattage. Remove by Friday at 6 a.m. or property will be secured per bylaw 9.4. I had 2 small light-up reindeer on the lawn. Nothing extreme, nothing bright enough to alert the International Space Station. But I'd forgotten. I'd been exhausted after another 12-hour shift at the hospital, and the kids had gone to bed excited about their glowing reindeer. I figured, worst case, she'd find me again. Friday morning, I found those reindeer smashed to pieces on my driveway, legs snapped, lights ripped out. A new note sat beside them. Non-compliance noted. Further action pending. I assumed further action meant another petty fight. I never imagined it meant trapping my children. So there I was, hands bleeding, kids sobbing, and then I heard the unmistakable rhythmic slap of someone walking. Karen appeared, strolling down the sidewalk in white sneakers, pastel sweater draped over her shoulders, and that HOA clipboard tucked to her chest like a sacred text. She smiled, lifting a key ring that sparkled with a dozen keys, apparently giving to her for neighborhood emergencies. "Good afternoon, Melissa," she called sweetly. "I did knock first, but no one answered, so I secured the premises for community safety." I snapped. I screamed that my children were trapped inside, that this was kidnapping, that I was calling the police. She rolled her eyes and said, "Don't be dramatic. It's just a chain. They have air." Air. My son had asthma, severe enough that I'd had oxygen delivered twice. Karen knew that. She'd complained about the constant medical packages cluttering the community aesthetic. Neighbors trickled out of their homes, phones raised, recording me like I was the circus attraction and Karen was the ringmaster. My hands trembled as I dialed 911. I knelt by the mail slot trying to talk to my daughter through the narrow opening, while my son cried in the background. The police arrived in 6 minutes. The first officer took one look at the chain and my terrified kids and ordered Karen to unlock the door.
She tried quoting bylaws and claiming authority of private property enforcement. The second officer didn't wait. He pulled out bolt cutters and snapped the chain while Karen shrieked that he was trespassing. The moment the door flew open, my children ran into my arms, shaking and sobbing. My daughter had tried calling 911 but couldn't unlock my phone. Karen continued arguing until one of the officers finally cuffed her. The look on her face, shock, indignation, hatred, was burned into my memory. You're under arrest for child endangerment and unlawful imprisonment. As they walked her to the cruiser, she glared at me with venom and mouthed 3 words: "This isn't over." At the time, I thought it was a threat born of humiliation. I had no idea how literal she meant it. That night, once the kids were finally calm enough to sleep, I curled between them, refusing to leave them alone. My phone buzzed, then buzzed again, and again, dozens of messages from unknown numbers. Rule breaker, trash mom, neglectful. We know what you did. Then a POFO popped up, a picture of my children's bedroom window, taken from my backyard, time-stamped 20 minutes earlier. My blood turned icy. I checked my security cameras. All of them were down, clean cuts through every wire. By morning, the neighborhood's group chat, moderated by Karen, was flooded with pictures of every violation I had ever had, including grainy shots of me coming home late from work with the caption, "Hope the kids are safe." Karen had been released on bail at 3 a.m. Her lawyer cousin posted it instantly. I kept the kids home from school and called in sick. I shouldn't have. At 10:17 a.m., a tow truck pulled into my driveway. The driver handed me paperwork showing that my car was being removed under an HOA lien. Fines that had apparently tripled overnight brought the total to over $14,000.
While I was still on the non-emergency police line, a man rang the doorbell. A process server. Emergency HOA meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Agenda: foreclosure vote on my house. Foreclosure. Tonight. With shaking hands, I called my mom to watch the kids and marched to Karen's house. She was in the garage ordering teenagers around while hanging new lights. She smirked, asked if I'd come to apologize. I told her I'd pay the fines, every cent, if she just stopped. She laughed. "Money isn't the point, dear. Respect is." Then she leaned close and whispered, "Your little boy's inhaler, I switched it with an empty one this morning. He'll be fine. Probably." My world tilted. I lunged at her, but the teenagers blocked me. I sprinted home, tearing through my son's backpack. His inhaler was empty. The backup one in the kitchen? Gone. I dialed 911 again, my hands barely working, but before officers even arrived, my mom screamed upstairs. I ran up to find red paint slashed across the twins' walls. "Get out," written in towering letters. The window was open, paint still dripping. Someone had been inside my home while I was gone for 7 minutes. The police took it seriously this time. Burglary, tampering with medical equipment, terroristic threats. They issued a new warrant for Karen. But when officers reached her house 20 minutes later, she was gone, completely. Lights taken down, garage emptied, mail forwarded, like she'd never lived there. At 6:58 p.m., 2 minutes before the HOA vote, my phone buzzed with a video message from Karen's number. I opened it. It was a live feed from inside the neighborhood clubhouse. The projector showed real-time footage of my living room, my mother, and my children sitting on the couch, unaware they were being watched by 50 neighbors. A camera hidden inside the star of our Christmas tree was filming them. The caption read, "Vote now. Who thinks this family should lose their home?" Every hand in the room went up. The crowd chanted, "Evict, evict, evict." I grabbed the kids, my mom, the essentials, and fled barefoot to the car. As we passed the houses, every porch light snapped off simultaneously. Then the clubhouse floodlights blazed on, illuminating a mob, pouring out onto the street. Silent, purposeful, recording. They were coming toward my home. I drove straight to the police station. The desk sergeant called the detective who'd arrested Karen earlier. 3 cruisers escorted us back. When we pulled into the neighborhood, the mob stood on my lawn, surrounding a pile of smashed plastic, my children's reindeer, now burning. Karen stood on my porch with a megaphone, reciting violations like a deranged pastor. The second she spotted the police, she switched to her innocent routine. It didn't matter. The detective marched up, cuffed her, and she screeched that everything she'd done was legal under HOA bylaws. The crowd booed the officers. A rock shattered my mailbox. The detective snatched Karen's megaphone and spoke loud enough for every fleeing neighbor to hear. He warned them that the live stream, texts, and footage made them part of a conspiracy to commit felony intimidation. They had 10 seconds to leave before arrests began. You've never seen people scatter faster. Karen was taken away screaming. No bail this time. 2 days later, the detective called me to the station. He handed me a folder overflowing with documents, bank records, forged signatures, fraudulent property deeds. Karen hadn't just been abusing power. She'd been running a foreclosure scam using the HOA as a cover. 8 years, 14 stolen homes across 3 subdivisions, worth millions. Mine was meant to be number 15. The hidden cameras were installed in every targeted home. The emergency meetings, the staged intimidation, the mob, all part of her strategy to terrify families into fleeing so she could claim abandonment and push through fraudulent foreclosures. She is now facing 127 felony charges. The county dissolved the HOA entirely. All stolen homes are being restored to their rightful owners with damages. Yesterday, movers pulled up to Karen's former house. A young couple with a toddler moved in, smiling and hopeful. They didn't know the history. I baked cookies and left a note. Welcome home. The cameras are gone. You're safe. Some nights, I still double-check the locks. My son wears his new inhaler on a chain around his neck like a lucky charm. But when the kids and I plug in our Christmas lights, reindeer and all, I let them glow all night long. This is our home, and no one will ever chain my children inside it again.